Hi, I'm Abba from A to Z Homes and we're at Max's art studio at Avoca Beach. Tell us a little bit about your history and your art journey to date.
Well, I'm a sculptor and I've always dreamt about having a studio space, as with sculpture you can't do it on a kitchen table. It's very messy, you need a lot of space. And as soon as we moved here, I started this project with my studio. I wanted to find a builder that I can trust. I was looking for a person that would be quite straightforward, upfront, transparent, and I don't feel like I'm being used for commercial gains of a builder. And so I met a few builders, and with Abba I found that you are very orderly, you are taking notes every time we meet, you take more notes than I do, and I'm quite an orderly person as well, that you are always transparent about things you know or about things you don't yet know, and so I always felt like we can have this dialogue about the space, come up with a solution together, and I felt that I can trust you and not taking advantage. And another thing that I should mention is that some of the builders I spoke to, they sort of left me say, oh, you need council approval, you go and obtain it and then come back to us. Whilst you were always supporting from the beginning, you had the designs ready and supporting with the council application, and even supporting to chase them up to get an approval, quicker for the build. So I really appreciated that.
It's been quite a journey from inception, where we discussed the kind of design, what you wanted to see, to where we are now. Can you tell us what kind of influenced the design, the color scheme, the building features and that kind of thing?
Well, first of all, I wanted a studio that feels spacious and sort of soothing atmosphere. I didn't want it to look too minimalistic and modern. I don't think it really works with art unless you are doing some abstract sort of geometrical art. And I'm a figurative sculptor. I'm interested in human figure. I'm interested in nature, and I wanted a house that resonates with me, that feels like a house, and yet it is also a studio, or primarily a studio. And that's what influenced the design. Obviously, there are features of this place that are specifically tailored for an art space, such as skylights, and they are specifically south-facing, so I don't get direct light, but I get diffused, and a lot of natural light, but that is diffused. And large windows. And also, I wanted to design the place that if times get tough, I can turn it into a living space. And that's some of the internal features, and the walls are designed specifically for that, as you know.
When you originally asked for blue external walls and then a red door, I thought, is that going to clash? But I trusted the process, and that honestly looks incredible. In terms of, future-proofing it in case you ever needed to use it as a house or somewhere to live, we included the bathroom, we put plumbing provisions in the concrete slab ready for a kitchen, so that if ever in the future you wanted to rent it out or perhaps put a family member in here, you could easily do that without ripping down walls and starting again, essentially.
Abba, I reckon this is not your typical building project, in the sense that you had to cope with me living next door to the build and asking all these questions, but also the access to the site is not quite conventional, right? You had to go via the driveway, and it was some narrow spaces. And can you tell us a little bit more about what was the challenges for you as a builder for this project?
Yeah, that's a really good question, actually. You living next door or having a client essentially on site all the time, it can go one of two ways. They can kind of see the building go up, and it takes the magic away because they don't see the end product. They see the frames go up, and they see the gyprock, and they see the gyprock before it's painted, and it can take the magic away. But the other side of the coin is, which is what you experienced and what I experienced by having you here, was like passive surveillance, where you could tell me a delivery has showed up, that something has just happened, and it was like having a site manager on site all the time. So that was quite beneficial for sure. In terms of the actual construction challenges, the biggest one was the tight access coming up the driveway, which is a steep driveway at that, and then through this little gate. So every material delivery, every machine had to go through that little gate. So we had to get a specialized excavator that was extra narrow, and that was really stressful in itself, in that if they happened to topple one way or another, because there was really no clearances on either side, they would cause damage, and then we have to deal with that. But once they were actually on site, it was a very slow process, digging the piers, excavating the ground, digging trenches, not just because the machine was so little, but also we found the ground was extremely hard here. And then at the end of the job, when we were landscaping, we were using hand tools like shovels, but we actually had to get a pickaxe and break the ground up so we could shovel it. I've never had to do that before. Normally you could just get a machine, but we couldn't get a machine in here, so that was very challenging. We also had a lot of rain in 2025. That really slowed things down quite a bit. Although with that said, we still delivered a little bit ahead of schedule, much to your delight. You could move in a bit sooner. But all things considered, it went quite smoothly from my perspective, for sure.
Now that I have moved in and have been productive here for a couple of months now, really, how does it feel for you to enter your building site and see the studio, at work?
It's such a beautiful space. It feels so good to be in here. Can you tell us a bit more about some of these art pieces? They're all so interesting.
I will tell in a second, but before I mention, because we had an open studio event where we invite local residents just to come and interact with artists in Avoca. The first open studio event I held in the garage, and the second open studio I had in this space. And sometimes, quite often, artists themselves come and see, and a lot of people get really envious for the space that I have now. And they saw the contrast with the garage-based studio versus this newly built studio. Let me show you some of the work in progress and some of the art pieces that I have. I love making portraits, and working from life model on a portrait is a privilege. You get to know a person, the features of that person, and you're almost touching the soul of a person when you are modeling from life. This one, I was craving for a life-size portrait, and I asked my partner Jeff, who is sitting right here posing for me, can you pose for me and I will just sculpt your portrait. This is in progress, it's far from being finished. I still need to retouch the face, eyebrows, elements of the features and the hair, but it's just to show how the process of sculpting really works. It starts with the model and the life model, ideally, next to it, and there we go.
This is definitely one that caught my eye, Maxim. Can you tell us a bit about this one?
This piece has been inspired by my own meditation experience. On rare occasions when you meditate, you feel like there is the boundary between you and your own self as you perceive it during normal life, sort of disappearing, dissolving, and you start to feel this oneness with the rest of the world and everything tightly interconnected. And I tried to represent this in a sculptural piece, this feeling of emergent oneness. For the lack of a better word, I don't know how to describe it. And so this figure on one side is just a male human figure, but on the other side you can see that the boundary between this figure and the world is sort of disappearing. And I represented it with this cutout, on the side of the body. And so this dualism in some sense. On one hand, we live with a strong self-identity day to day, but occasionally we get the glimpses of this experience where we transcend our boundaries and we feel interconnected with everything and one with everything. So that's what this piece is about.
This is another exciting one, Max. Can you show us what you're working on now?
Yeah, this is very much work in progress, and I will open the curtain, the veil in a second, but I just want to warn that sometimes sculptors work in different stages, and you can see the model being modeled as a whole sculpture. Sometimes you can see some other fragments are more finished than the model, and this is where the latter example of work being in progress in two different stages at the same time. So here's what we have here. This is probably one of the larger pieces that I've ever done, other than life-size studies, and it's rotating. You can see it from different sides. It's quite a complex story on the background, but in a nutshell, this piece is investigating through history of few thousand years the interactions between people and their beliefs and religion, spiritual cravings, the interaction between people and gods. And this figure represents a god, and the other side of it is taken from the Bible of the story Adam and Eve, and the metaphor that I used in this, where Eve is extending the apple back not to Adam but to gods, and the gods are rejecting the offering. So in a very short few sentences, that's what the piece is about, and it's in progress. I'm still working on the ground. Well, Abba, with everything I said, I just want to thank you for the work you've done, the trust you had in my design decisions, and challenging at times the process. And I'm so happy, can't be happier with my studio. Thank you very much.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.